Hi, Insuli Draconis. This is Ranulph from Flint Heath. I wanted to shoot this video because obviously people are spending a lot of time just around their house right now, and I've seen some questions about how to put together a Pell or what people's Pells look like. And so I just wanted to show everyone what mine looks like and how I built it, because it is super easy. You can do it essentially with just hand tools, and really this is a great time, if you don't have one, to go ahead and build one and start practicing with it. So let's just walk over to my Pell. So I apologize because it's a little bit bright out here, but here's my Pell. You can see it's about 2 meters tall, so it's just a little bit taller than I am actually. And if we get closer, let me try and get a good angle on it. So you can see that I have these 4 pieces of lumber here, and this is what I tend to think of as 2x8 is what these are made out of. So that would be 2 inches by 8 inches is essentially how thick it is and how wide it is. Sorry, I'm not exactly sure what that translates to in millimeters, but it's pretty easy to find anywhere that you go that sells timber of any variety. So I got mine from B&Q. You could get it at any sort of timber store or home improvement store in general. So you can see I have these 4 pieces here, and what I've done is I have screwed them to the main body of the Pell like this, and they're in this sort of overlapping pattern, kind of like that. And what that does is it makes it really sturdy. I can pretty much put it anywhere. I just leave it outdoors all the time, and no matter how windy it gets, it's never blown over yet. So, and also it holds, even if you're not really supposed to hit your Pell super hard, but every once in a while I do by accident, and it has held up to that every time as well. So then the main body of the Pell, you can see here, is 2 pieces of 2x4. I've just taken them and set them right next to each other and screwed them together periodically. And what that makes is a nice piece of 4x4, except it was cheaper than buying a whole length of 4x4, so that was convenient. And if I step back, you can see that I've wrapped it up in this blue rope. Again, that was really cheap. It came directly from B&Q. It's been a while, so I can't tell you exactly how expensive it was, but it was very cheap. And this is probably the only part that required any fanciness. I actually drilled a hole, and you can't quite see it, but there's a cord that goes all the way through the Pell, and that helps hold it together. But you can also see I wrapped this duct tape around it too, just for some extra support, and I think that would hold it on fine. You don't have to be as elaborate and fancy as I did it. And you can see I've just wrapped it all the way around, and really the benefit of that is it just keeps my sticks from bouncing off of a sharp corner. But you don't necessarily have to do that. I mean, I use pretty old, beat up rattan sticks that I don't use anymore for actual fighting to work on the Pell, and so really, I mean, if they hit a corner and they get mushy, that's really not that big of a deal. But at any rate, this is my Pell. Super easy to put together. You don't have to make it quite that tall. Not everyone is that tall, but pretty easy stuff. And all you really need to do to put it together, you can see, is it would help to have a power drill, but you don't necessarily need one. You could do it with a hand drill and some screwdrivers, although it would take a while. And you can do it with a handsaw. And so it's very cheap, as long as you can get about 6 feet or so of these materials, 6 feet of 2x8, and 6 feet of, 12 feet total of 2x4, or 6 feet of 4x4, then you'll be doing good. So at any rate, that's how you put together a Pell, or at least one way that you can put together a Pell. There's also another way, which I've seen some people do, and that would make it even more portable and easy to put in in your house and then take out into the garden. And that would be to do essentially the same here with the main body of the Pell, and then stick it into a bucket full of quick mix concrete. And if you were to do that, then that bucket essentially becomes the base of the Pell. And while it's a little bit easier to knock over and probably wouldn't hold up in high winds quite as well, that does make it a lot more portable. It's just going to sit in one corner of a room somewhere, as opposed to this one, which does have a reasonably significant footprint, and would take up a lot of space in a room. So that's another possibility. But at any rate, it really isn't that difficult to put together a Pell. I'm really not a very handy guy, but I was able to do it, and I think if I'm able to do it, you probably are too, or at a minimum, you might be able to ask someone else to borrow some tools or something like that and get it done yourself. All right, thank you for listening. This is Ranulph. I hope that everyone is continuing to practice as best they're able, and if you're not, I understand that too. Obviously, these are very trying times, and so I hope that when you are able to, you can get back to practice, and maybe you'll have a fancy new Pell at the end of it.